Okay, let's get started. This is, I think this is like actually episode 6, but strictly speaking, it's episode 5 because I ran out of disk space building the last one, and ScreenFlow clashed on me, and I lost all my data. So now I've got enough disk space for another hour and a half, and I can throw it onto a spare disk later. So I better catch people up with what you missed, which might just be in this diff. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it should be. So let's have a look. To recap, we're building a thing that connects to, it takes a trunk webhook, then uses the pod spec data to grab README data from GitHub, and then we'll be uploading a rendered README to S3 and then updating the trunk database. So what we looked at in the one that you can't now see is setting up the trunk connection. So probably adding the dependencies, setting up some Postgres, some SQL calls to actually find whether that row exists in the database and to update the database. So that's what this setup trunk connection must be. So it looks like I commented out S3 uploading, probably so I could test it in the side here. We create a trunk now, and we pull in an environment variable that gives the database. We then set up, I have a row that exists that is like an interface with lots of nullable optional things. Then I have a function called update pod, which looks like it makes a query to see if it's get the pod from pod name first. Then it looks inside CocoaDocs pod metrics. I'll show you what this looks like actually, because that'll make life a little bit easier. Connect. So if I go back to the CocoaPods org development database, this is what I'm talking about here. So the table CocoaDocs pod metrics and the pods. So if you look in here, we can see that our stack view has a UUID of 2728. So in that first query, select ID from pods where name equals blah blah blah, it should return an ID, which we can see pulled out here. And then we do a second search on CocoaDocs pod metrics, where the pod ID is the one that we've just done, because there should always be one. If it exists, if it exists, then we update it. So we do update blah blah blah. And if it doesn't, then we create a new row with just the rendered README URL in. Okay, so it looks like there's a row, an update come from database, and it looks like this just calls it. So let's do a quick look over the code base, just to make sure that, because that could just been a commit, like a halfway commit, so I'd rather at least show everything. So trunk webhook now looks like this. When we receive it from trunk, it first checks to see if it's got a data URL. Then it does an API call for the data URL. I actually wanted to do another validation here, because I was thinking about this earlier. It's very possible that somebody could just send bad data that doesn't include a pod spec. So if I go to cocoapods.org/forgeries, I need to make sure that it has like github.com/cocoapods/specs or whatever. So it needs to include like this sort of thing. So maybe this has to like be a prefix. I don't know if the data URL looks different. It might look like that. So it's going to have to contain that. And if it doesn't, then we fail, because then we'll only get useful data. If it does not include that, then we let's just say 401. I can't remember the exact. Cool, there we go. So data URL should be for the CocoaPods repo. Just thought about it one day when I was walking home. It's like, ooh, that could be bad. So, okay, we have pulls the data, gets the JSON out of it, then it pulls the GitHub metadata out of the pod spec. If there's no GitHub details, then it just continues. Otherwise, we create a GitHub API using the REST kit for Node, and we upload the README. So that should send it off up to S3. Yep. And it will return the string of where this actually exists, which it doesn't do yet, but will do in the future. And then it generates a CocoaDocs row and passes that into update pod, which is not a great name. So let's rename that update CocoaDocs row for pod. You can tell I come from the Objective-C world. So update CocoaDocs row for pod. So, and that does the stuff that we talked about earlier. It actually complained if we kill this, start up the server. Let's also make sure that we got the watch running again. Is it terminal? Yeah, build watch. Cool. Great. Nope, that one. It's button to hide this. I don't know, by key command. There we go. Cool. So it must be running this code, and I think it just needs this set. So you're kind of lucky because you missed an awful lot of faffing. So being that I don't really know SQL very well, as normally I just use an object relational mapper, but we're here writing some SQL. You have to specify what these values are. Like a good rule of thumb when dealing with semi-user data is separating out the insertion of the values and the actual query, so that someone can't, submit a query that deletes all your data. The old Bobby drop tables XKCD. So I've made that change. I can have a look, see if that actually worked. So that's true. That isn't strictly the data URL. Wait, that one's different from the other one. Oh, it just redirects to it. So this means I can't trust this. So this probably is going to look like this then. Because I'm pretty sure I took that directly from the website, from the website's fixtures, which means that's what it gets sent. Cool. Okay. So could not determine type of parameter $1, which I guess I only added it to 2. So I'm gonna guess that's gonna be int. Is it in SQL? Damn it. Better just try. Maybe it's none. It should be inside the database. The object. Whatever thing I'm using to make queries, Node PG or something. Okay, so that wasn't it. Let's have a look. So what's the exact error? Because I found a pretty good. Could not determine type of parameter $1. Is it actually what I think it is? Right? Like, yeah, that one's there. That one's there. But it's not going to create it because it does exist in the database. Let's have a quick look at this then. Hi. I'm going to restart the server and trigger that. Okay. So it's this $1 here, which is worrying because I thought that would be the answer. So let's have a look at there. And what we're using? We're using Node Postgres. Okay, let's take all 3 of them. That's timestamps. So this is actually a Postgres thing. Don't add single quotes with 1 and 2. Oh, they say the same thing. Okay, let's give it a shot. That was okay. I got the watcher running, so that should be fine. 0 errors. Hey, okay. So let's just verify the local database. So that's a stack view, and that's the real data. So that's what should have gone through this, which means that's working. Okay. That acts as I expect. Could delete the row. Probably should delete the row. Copy it. Delete it. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just use another pod if it's critical. Okay, so let's do the same thing again. Let's run the server. Okay, no errors is great in the Unix philosophy. So what's the pod ID again? Okay, take this ID, pod ID. Great. Okay, so that created a row. It gave everything null values and falses, which is okay for now. We'll find out whether the website can handle that a little later. But for now, we're gonna ship the S3. They're gonna ship it up to S3. And we can actually now write tests about this because I know it works now. Previously, I didn't know it worked. So S3, what do we have for upload? README? Yeah, that sounds good. So this we don't need anymore. Well, we do. We'll need it after this. So upload to S3. That's pretty good. Previously, I had some other credentials set in my environment variables. Now I'm pretty sure they're set up to be my personal ones, so we should have access to upload to S3. I think we do. Do I have a way of verifying that? Oh. No such bucket. Interesting. So what's AWS bucket in my .env? CocoaDocs_bucket. That's not the name of it. It's not threat. It's called transmit. I used CyberDuck for like 20 years, and it's not true. 20 years isn't it? Over exaggeration. Maybe like 10, 15. There we go. So it's CocoaDocs.org. Cool. So we run it. And so I thought I'd use transmit when the new one came out because, you know, I'm a programmer that earns more now. I should pay for the software that I like. Okay, so this is looking good. And again, no errors is good errors. How can I verify it? Is a great question. I could probably verify it by actually looking at the URL because wait, no, I can't because I don't think I own CocoaDocs anymore. That's something I'll have to deal with. In the meantime, let's try this. I don't know if it's gonna work. The CocoaDocs, like this thing in like /docsets is so big that I don't know if it can handle listing it all. It should. I mean, it's only like 15,000, so maybe 20, 25,000. How many pods are there? 43,000. So I was definitely off on my scale. And this is now downloading a list of 43,000 file names. So that might take a bit of time. In the meantime, maybe if I'd have just been able to grab one, let's make a new tab. Can we do tab? Yeah. If I grab one file in there, then I can just infer it based on an existing URL. Cool. So it's going to be like that, and then it's going to be doc/sets/OS stack. Something like this, OS stack view, maybe 301. Okay, so hopefully this is the rendered README. Damn. Okay, let's just hit without. Okay, yeah, that's definitely not what CocoaDocs would have looked like beforehand. Yeah. How can I tell? Because, wait, how can I tell? Does that have the word CocoaPods in it? Yeah, but it's not necessarily. Okay, I'm gonna. I think that worked. Okay, so this is great. This is good. We should. What should we do from here? I don't fear. Okay, so it's like the next minute or two of me umming and ahhing. We should definitely commit this. That's an easy one. Okay, so got this. Oh. Last check. That's the setup trunk at the start so that we can connect to the database. That uploads to S3 and returns the URL for it. We know that it's not this, so maybe the abstraction, maybe it shouldn't be cocoadocs.org, but it should be the real AWS link that I copied. It looks more like this. And that's going to be bucket. I mean, hopefully we never have to switch again, but like, you never know, right? So that's now not plus file path because that can be built in. Cool. Great. Okay, if there's a README, then we update the CocoaDocs for that row. I mean, this as is actually good enough to it's really just good enough to ship right this second and actually put into production. Maybe I should just do that and then. Oh no, this isn't good enough. This won't do all of that yet. So it needs to do one more thing before I can ship it. So let's just commit this. Database, gets to the database, updates the pod, the row, validates that it contains the raw, loads that. Cool. Updates the README trunk DB with new README location. Sure. Okay, let's push that up. Okay, how are we? 20 minutes? Okay. Let's push it. And then what I'll do is I'll stop this recording. And I'll get my next beer. And then we'll get set up with moving this to Heroku. All right. Ciao, ciao.